Good evening and welcome to Prime View, a show where we take the views of Nigerians all over the world, discuss them, and put it up straight to you, impose it to the politically exposed. My name is Mr. Pauline.
And I'm Spencer. And then, well, you're welcome.
I am PK. Find the gap. Yes.
Today, we have a very packaged, I call it well-packaged show for you. And politics as usual. Nigerians talk about things going on in Nigeria. So much happening in Nigeria in the scenes right now as we speak. And but less happening in Southeast. And who best to introduce the next guests? Our guest today being via video link than my co-host.
Yes, we have today on the program one of the young aspirants from the Southeast. The topic for today is to do with the Southeast and developments under the APC administration in the Southeast and in Igbo in Nigerian politics. So we're trying to look into how the Igbo people are faring in Nigeria. Well, some could say under the APC, and some could say in Nigeria as a whole. And today we have a young aspirant for the position of in the House of Representatives under the APC for the federal constituency of Ekwusigo, Nnewi North and the Nnewi South. And we're delighted to have engineer Chidolue via video link, and he's in Abuja today. Ike, can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Thank you so much for having me.
We're having a problem with the sound. We can't hear you at all at the moment.
Really?
Can you hear me? We can't hear you, Ike.
I think, can you say something, Mr. Ike? We can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Can you? Yes, we can hear you now.
Yeah, we can hear you now. Yes. Yeah. Can you say something? You're welcome to the show anyway, Ike. I can hear you. Well, we can hear you now.
All right.
You're delighted. How's Abuja today?
Well, I mean, it's been raining all day, every day for the past few days.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think the weather is okay now. And I mean, it's stopped.
Yes.
Well, Mr. Ike, we start with Nigeria and the Southeast. The APC published recently in the news about development in Southeast. And I call it the ongoing developments or projects in Southeast. What do you think is responsible for the relative lack of development? I believe there's still lack of development going on in Southeast. What do you think about it?
Thank you for that question. I think that the problem with development is generally a failure in leadership at all levels. I mean, it's easy to blame federal government for things that happen here, but we have to equally and we have government. And these our local government and state government have their budgets as well. So when we have the wrong representing us in different cadres in government, that's where we have the kind of failure that we have. You have a local government chairman that does with the budget. You have the state government that they just squander or whatever they need to do with the something. So even before I start pointing at the federal government, we have to take blame at that, at our level, the state government level. That is why people like us are sacrificing everything to come and be part of the process.
Ike, somehow I can hear you, but my co-host here cannot hear you clearly. Shall we still let's take a few seconds break and see how we can get this rectified. Please, the studio, if you can hear us too, Mr. Ike, I can hear him clearly, but Spencer cannot hear him.
Well, you're welcome back. Ike Chidolue, can you hear me now? Engineer Ike, can you hear me? Engineer Ike, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Engineer Ike, can you
Yeah,
hear
I can
me?
hear you, but there's a delay. Yes, I can hear you, but there's a delay.
Okay, there's a delay. Okay, perhaps we might need to wait.
Yes, I can hear
You can hear me. Okay, yes. Right. What I wanted us to do, let's continue because there's a bit of a problem, obviously. But I wanted you to introduce yourself.
A long delay. A long time.
Pardon? There's a long delay. I wanted you to introduce yourself and tell us, explain your constituency you want to represent and
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, please go ahead.
My name is Ike Chidolue. I'm from Bra State, from a community in Nnewi North local government. And I'm one of the aspirants that wants to represent our constituency in the National Assembly. My constituency is called the Ekwusigo, Nnewi North, and the Nnewi South Federal Constituency. And that is my goal right now, is to compete with the rest of the people that have indicated interest, and hopefully my people will find my aspiration valid enough to give me that mandate to go and represent them.
Okay.
Engineer Ike, many of Igbo, yeah, we believe that in one, we don't actually, in Igbo don't believe in one Nigeria per se. And after the recent vote, I mean a bill that was a set of development commission bill that was actually thrown out by the APC, should I say, overruled in the APC representatives, having majority actually voted against it, but then they voted for the Northeast Development Bill. What do you think? What do you think? What's your view on that?
I mean, it's like taking an exam. It's like taking an exam. Everything we're talking about, part of the reason I'm here is about quality representation.
Good.
Why will they bring a bill to the floor if they have not built the proper alliances and the proper relationship with their colleagues in the National Assembly? You know, like you are supposed to be ready for an exam, you prepare for the exam, then you go and fail, and your reason is that, oh, that the questions were too hard.
So you believe there's division in the National Assembly?
No, I'm not talking about division. I mean, everybody, it's all about, you know, participatory, is a participatory democracy. So it's all about interaction and building relationships.
Okay.
That I'm in the same party with you doesn't mean that that the bill or what you want to do for your community, that I must support it. So everybody, yeah, so it's people, the people representing our region, to have properly, you know, shopped or gotten the buy-in from all the other people. Before you bring a bill to the floor, you make sure that there is already a you know, a level of buy-in. You don't bring, it's not an emotional matter. Everything on this thing is logical. So when you're bringing it to the floor, you be sure that you already have the needed number. I mean, you know, I watch what goes on in the United States, in the Congress every time, and most of the time, sometimes they bring it fails, and sometimes they need to get somebody, maybe one of the president's appointee approved, and it will fail. But you know, most of the time they go back and lobby the guys in the Democrat group. You lobby them and get the buy-in so that you be sure that this thing is going to pass. So before you bring something to the floor, be sure that there is a buy-in. But it goes to show that's the reason why people like me are coming out, you know, because it's about time. It's about time we bring the best of the best to go out there and represent us. So when we have quality representation, no those in a project manager for a while. So you know, when you manage complex projects, you have to be sure.
There's a delay, a slight delay. So can you still hear us, engineer? Somehow the internet system in Nigeria is still failing us. That's the same thing we're talking about, Nigeria and its systems. But please, just bear with us.
At the right time, the right resources, the right...
Well, we seem to have lost him totally now.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we'd have to go on another break, actually, and come back again once more. Yeah? Okay, let's go on another break, and then once we come back, we try and...
We just have to get this sorted, yes. We have to get this somehow. Welcome back. Sorry about this up and down, and hopefully Engineer Ike will hear us. Engineer, are you hearing us now? Can you hear us? While we're trying to sort it out in the studio, we're just discussing about the development in Southeast and Igbo's presence in the National Assembly, or should I say in Nigeria politics. While we're still trying to get everything sorted.
I think the point Ike was trying to make is that, you know, the question that we were asking was about how you know, the bill that was presented,
yes,
to do with the Southwest Development Commission, why it wasn't
approved,
given the second reading, because they were at the first reading and it was killed at the first reading.
Yeah.
But what he's saying is that it seems that our Southeastern representatives are not really playing it, representing us very well.
Yes.
Because if they're doing the groundwork, or if they did the groundwork they should have done, lobbied very well, and then presented the bill, because we found out that they didn't even lobby the governors. So it's like you're already alienating some of your own people. So if they...
But should there be lobbying actually there? They shouldn't be lobbying.
No, you need to carry everyone along.
Yeah.
So what he was trying to say, and I think I understand what he's saying, and even I've spoken to some people from the north, because you know the Northeast Development Commission went ahead, and what they said to me was, what they did was they went around lobbying even people from the Southeast to say to them, look, this is our demands, this is what we want.
All right, I can hear you guys. Can you hear me?
You know.
Oh yes, we can hear
we
you
seem to have gotten EK back on now.
Okay.
Yes.
No, I'm using my phone. I'm using my phone now.
Oh, and it's a lot clearer.
The laptop. Yeah, I didn't know what's going on with the laptop. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a lot better now. Yeah. So EK Chidolue, I was just trying to explain what you were saying. I was trying to say that perhaps the point you were trying to make was that our representatives seem not to be representing us very well, because when I spoke to some of the Northeast representatives, they said to me that what they did with their own bill, which was the Northeast Development Bill, was to go and make sure they lobbied a lot of members all across Nigeria, you know, across board, and made sure they got the buy-in of everyone before they presented this bill. They got the governors involved, they got everyone, and then by the time they presented it, it just was like a walkthrough for them.
It's all true.
You know, so isn't that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. I mean, you know, when you have the wrong people, I'm not going to knock all of them, but when you have the wrong people doing the job, they're going to take a lot of time, and they will still not get it done. Because present the bill on the floor in the first place, do you think that the people are just going to accept to it because an emotional plea? If you have a logical argument, first of all, go and get the buy-in of your colleagues. From your colleagues, you have to build the proper alliances. You have to build the proper relationships. You have to get them. I mean, in other environments, I don't know how it is in the UK, but in America, you know, there are lobby groups. There are official lobby groups that lobby the Congress for one thing or another. So even now, what about how much more an issue that a region is presenting? What would it have taken them? You shouldn't bring it to the floor. That's why I said, I gave an example with taking an exam. You know, you go, you know the exam is coming today. You had all months, all years to prepare for the exam. Then you fail it and you start your excuses that the question was too tough. You know, so we are blaming the other lawmakers for not approving a bill, or we're going to say it's an APC matter, a PDP matter. It is the failure of the representatives for the Southeast region. They did not do their homework well. That is why, even though the bill wasn't supposed to be a burden, a financial burden to the federal government, but they still failed it. They failed to shop it among their colleagues. They failed to get the right buy-in from the people.
Okay,
so
but I'd like to say something though. You know what you said is it sounds so easy, but a lot of Nigerians, well, from the Southeast, think that really that no matter how many times you present that bill, that it's not going to be given the daylight, because there's a systematic agenda to keep the Southeast down. What do you say about that?
I mean, we are running a constitutional democracy. We are running a participatory democracy. Everybody, every region is represented at every tier of government. That's why we have a Federal Character Commission. So when the people that are representing you at these various tiers of government fails to present the need of your region in a way, I mean, it's like using computer. I mean, when they started writing programs, one of the things they made us to understand is that garbage in, garbage out. So when you have people that don't know how to bring in the goods, go there to represent you, they're just going to be thinking about themselves. They're not concerned with the region. And after 20 years, after 30 years, after 40 years, the other regions are able to make their own need, meet the need of their own people, and our own representatives are, sleeping on duty. I'm not going to blame anybody. We have to take the blame. We have to take the blame when we fail.
Well, it's easier said than done, because the way the lay Igbo man sees it is the North presented theirs and it went through. The Igbo man has presented his. There's a story. So it's difficult to convince them.
That's why both of us are talking. The elites that understand the argument can see why does a bill fail? Why does a bill, I mean, the budget, do you know how long it took before the budget was passed? Several months. Is it not an APC government? Was the National Assembly not, majority APC? Do you know how long it took? It took almost a year before we got this budget, a budget that was submitted last year, and we just got it passed the other day.
And
so that's the thing about it.
You don't think sometimes, maybe because the Southeast doesn't have enough members there to vote the bills through?
It's not about, no, I mean, nobody's an island. We're not running a regional government. That why you're there is, you're there because your people or the people that elected you felt we are of the opinion that, they were of the opinion that you have the mental industry, the intellectual capacity to go and represent them effectively. Of course we know, I mean, it's not a walk in the park. Representation is not a Sunday school class. We know there's going to be, obstacles on the way, but you should have enough experience, enough background to know how to do this obstacle crossing.
Engineer, we're talking now. I hope when you get in there, sorry to cut you short, I hope when you don't get in there, you don't write a bill and it gets struck out without being pulled through. Yeah. Because it can happen. You're from the Southeast.
It happens every day. It happens every day, but
and don't forget you're also APC.
That's the more reason why it should fly. That's the more reason why it should fly.
That's the more reason I'll remind you. I'll remind you in future that you mentioned this and you put in that bill, and somehow you did your work and it still didn't pull through.
Nothing is set on stone. Nothing is set on stone. But when we present ourselves, now and I presented myself, I'm giving my people an internal view, like an interview we're having, an opportunity to interrogate my background. Yes. Because a lot of this decision that we've made over the years, we are purely emotional. Many of our representatives are people that know people that know people. So you get people that don't have the career experience or the background to go there and do the job. It's like in business. I worked with Nigerian Energy Power Company, subsidiary of ENI Italy. I resigned my appointment January this year. And when we do contracts, when we give contracts out to our contractors, there are some indices that we use to measure. If all the jobs the biggest job you've done in your life, when we look at your your audit, financial audit reports, and we say the biggest you've done is $300,000. We cannot give you a job of $20 million to handle, because you don't have the capacity, the financial capacity to do it. And we don't see that you have the technical, you may have the technical capacity, but it goes hand in hand. If you've never managed such complex volume of job, giving you a $30 million job is actually going to kill you, because you think, oh, if they give you, you're excited they gave you, but AGIP is not going to pay you like in 20 days after you get the job done. Sometimes we may owe you for 6 months or 1 year. So you give a guy with the capacity of $500,000 and you give him a job of $30 million, and he goes to the bank and borrow money to do the job, and 4 months down the line he has not been paid, 1 year he's not been paid, and the double-digit interest is running. In 6 months he's going to fold up. You just kill the company with something that should have blessed him. So the same way we get people that don't have the capacity, the experience to do a job, and we'll put them in the House of Reps. You know, what do you expect? They are just going there looking for contracts to do for themselves, instead of looking for how to better present the arguments so that it can benefit their own constituency and their own region and the nation at large. So that's why I came out. That's why I'm in this race. It's interesting because, you know, my background, of course, we had the opportunity to go to the United States and study and work there, put in a lot of years in America, then got back to Nigeria, started working with, you know, they hired me actually in Houston, started working with them since April 2008. And over those years, I still have about 9 years or 10 years to retire. But because I have this desire, burning passion to be part of this discussion, to be part of changing the shape and the narrative and the discussion, you know, that's why I actually sacrificed everything. I sacrificed my family's comfort, the comfort of my family. It was a financial sacrifice because AGIP pays me well. I mean, I can put up my tax return for you know, the last 3 years. You see, I'm paid well.
So have you left already? Have you left AGIP already?
Oh yes, I can't be doing this if I didn't leave. I put in my resignation. Everybody was like, Ike, what are you doing? You know, but it's the passion to be part of this discussion. That's why I did this. You know, it's not like, and even doing it, it's not like a leap of faith. It's not a leap of faith per se, but we thought through the process. I counted the cost. I sat down and, you know, there is a chart, there is a path to victory. I'm part of the, you know, the ruling party, and I know a few people in my own states, and I say, some of these guys believe me. Yeah. They believe in what.
Chidolue, I'm going to have to cut you short, because I know once you start, you don't stop. You don't stop. You know, we have time. We have to manage our time as well. Yeah. So, but
yes.
Because the discussion is leading on to is actually towards restructuring. Is the next question for me is, what's your take on restructuring? Because there was a recent summit called the Southeast Restructuring Summit, where Professor Chidolue discussed about the agenda that for Igbo. He made a presentation basically, and he presented the demands of Igbo if this unity, this enclave called Nigeria would work. And to him, he laid down a new constitution for Nigeria, regional police, you know, stuff like that. I wanted to know, did you follow that, and what's your opinion on it? Because
I look, of course, Ohaneze believe in restructuring, and I believe restructuring the nation will benefit, the federation will benefit from restructuring. But however, we need to define we have to define what restructuring is all about. You know, because like for the guy in the South, for him, restructuring is about resource control. But restructuring is not about resource control. Restructuring, in my own opinion, is about, I mean, any restructuring that has with the unity of the nation, I'm not for that. You know, so restructuring that I am in support of is the one that will restructure us out of the pervasive cankerworm of corruption that has eaten over this. The restructuring that I'm going to support is the one that will restructure our educational system. a restructuring. Look at it. We're still the Sustainable Development Goal. Not even the SDA, is the UNESCO. UNESCO, the threshold is set for education budget is it has to be 26% of the national budget. Nigeria is still doing single-digit budget for education. So the restructuring I want to, and those are the kind of bills I'm going to put there, is one that will restructure our education and put money on the table so that we can enhance the quality of the human capital that we have in this country. So those are the kind of restructuring. We have to restructure our nation to be more efficient and to grow. So we restructure it, not to break it up, and somebody in this part of region, okay, somebody in the south want to take control of our oil, and the corruption continues in the region, and people no, that's not restructuring. So when we're talking about restructuring, yes, I want this police force to be restructured, but when we think of restructuring, we should be thinking of efficiency. We have to restructure it to be more efficient, and we look at the things, where are the gaps, where are the holes, where are the leakages coming from? So we're restructuring our country so that we can block the gaps, we can plug the leakages, and we make it more efficient. Okay, so that it can
taking you away from restructuring, let's get back to a sensitive issue, which is the security, the herdsmen, the issue of the herdsmen. The ranching as a solution to security or enhancement, the farmers' problems across the southeast. What do you think? What do you think will be the solution to this ranching with the southeast? And will it benefit us in the southeast?
Ranching, when it started, I remember having an interview on this matter, and they asked, do you support the 5 Eastern governors says that they don't support cattle colony. I think cattle colony is what they called it. Yeah. And the guy asked me, do I support cattle colony or ranching? Yes or no? Do you stand with the governors? And I said, it's not a yes or no answer. Yeah. First of all, we have to ask ourselves, why do they bring their cattle down to the southeast region or to the southern part of the country? The normal excuse that is given by the livestock farmers is that they don't have, the northern Nigeria is arid, they don't have a lot of green vegetation, so they come here to get vegetation. If I were one of the leaders in the southeast, the governors, what they would have done was use that opportunity to pull in the Central Bank of Nigeria into the discussion and the Ministry of Finance into the discussion. If the reason why the people in the north, the farmers are bringing their cattle down to the south is because they need green vegetation, why don't we dedicate some area and start growing those hays that they need? You grow it from January to September, you start harvesting and rolling up your hays and weigh it out in kilogram. Federal government, the central bank puts intervention subsidy on the table per kilogram of hays. This is how much you get, and you put it up and send it to the north. That's a new revenue for you as a state. Then another thing that we could do on that, because it becomes a problem when you call it Fulani herdsmen ranching. I don't like it, because it's like I'm gonna issue of security has to be dealt with. I don't want, it's like like you're putting that stigma on it. In Nigeria, in Anambra State, in Enugu State, there are places we call Amawosa. Amawosa is like where the Fulani, where the herdsmen, the cattle rearers stay. So, and even without having a cattle colony constitution, we already have a place that we give them in almost all the states of the country where they keep their cattle. So the only problem that most states are fighting is that we don't want to make it official in the constitution. But why would I want to even, if I were the federal government, if I were part of the lawmakers, what I would have pushed for, I would have pushed for the federal government to put some subsidy on the table, put $10 or $20 million per state that will go and do livestock development and processing facility in their states.
So is that going to be a bill you're going to present? You have that as one of your bills?
Not yet, but I want to, because there are things you have to get a buy-in. If people are going to suspect what they don't understand. But I don't want my people in the southeast. We are mainly merchants education, you know, we're everywhere, but we're equally big on commerce. So if we look at livestock development and processing as a new business that everybody can go into, I mean, we are going to outdo the competition. Igbo people can go in and do better than any other part of the country. So why should we run away from it? If the federal government, if I were part advising them, I would have put a subsidy on the table, just the same way they did it for petroleum product marketing. Federal government only put the money subsidy on the table, and traders, businessmen went in, saw the subsidy template, studied it, set up their tank farm, bring in their products, and started making money out of it. In the same way, put a subsidy template for livestock development on the table, and you don't need to tell anybody to do ranching or not to do ranching. People are going to go in. If you tell them that to access it, you need to have up to 100 cattle, then or 50 cattle, then from 51 cattle, you 20% of the value as subsidy. You know, you make it, then the states need to go and modify their own laws in their House of Assembly. What I would like them to see, because it is the local government and the state government that develop or assign a location and make it, this is the marketplace, and they build it up either wholly funded by the states or but through private public participation, and they build a marketplace. In my community in Nnewi, the new Nnewi market was developed by the former local government's chairman. It was in his tenure several years ago that it was done. They build it, they allocate the stores, they sell the ones they sell, and they generate revenue from operating that store. So in the same way, you can allocate an area for livestock development, for ranching, map it out, and so that people that are going to be there, they are going to pay. But another thing, you need a bill that will define the cost per cattle. Hold on, just listen to this. Just listen to this. Just listen to this. They need to, if they have the right legislation in the states, they can decide that by legislation that every cattle is going to cost you 300 or 500 naira per month. If you have 500 cattle, this is how much the revenue, the levy for you're going to give to the states. This is going to cut off. My internet just finished, exhausted. Then if it cuts off, I'll go in on the other phone. Don't worry, I'll go in.
No, we'll take a break.
No, but Engineer, what I was going to say, I wanted you to prepare. But you know, the next question is. Sorry, you bring it in there. The next question for I wanted to ask you, once we come back from the break, because we're going to go on the break now, is I want you to tell us about the bills you're proposing for. I know you don't want to give away everything, but I want you to tell us about the bills you have for your people of Ekwusigo, Nnewi North and Nnewi South, and then you can tie it in with what you're talking about now, yeah? So we go on a break, and we're not going to be too long, and we're back, so stay tuned.
And then give you time to sort the internet.
Yes,
Okay. Thank you.
All right, we'll be back soon. Stay tuned.
A great product just landed in Africa to power your devices. A product with high performance and high durability. Fujitsu batteries, distributed by IQ Distributions. Fujitsu has both industrial and consumer battery types suitable for various devices. The consumer battery types include alkaline batteries, carbon zinc batteries, rechargeable batteries, lithium batteries to power devices like torchlight, wristwatch, mouse, cordless phone, remote, car remote, camera, calculator, radio, microphone, motherboard, keyboard, gamepad, toys, electric toothbrush, smoke detector and lots more. Reputable, reliable and result-oriented distributors are wanted in Nigeria, Ghana, South Africa and the entire sub-Saharan Africa region. To apply, simply visit www.iqdistributions.com, complete the reseller application form, upload the required documents, and submit. Once your application is approved, you will be given access to make purchases on the website. For more details, contact us now. Fujitsu batteries, quality, engineered in Japan.
Welcome to Korama Lounge Pan-African Restaurant, bringing you the finest taste of African food to the heart of East London. Choose from a variety of Pan-African menu or try our point and kill fresh catfish. We are located in 308 Barking Road, East Ham, London, E6 3BA. For table bookings, birthday bookings, baby shower and private events, call us on 0203 302 6565 or 07532 789 480. Kuramo Lounge. Welcome to Kuramo Lounge.
Welcome back. You're still tuned to Prime View with myself, Mystic Marlene, and my co-host
Spencer Nnewi.
We're back to the second half of the show. On the we're not in the studio. We don't have a guest in the studio this week, but via video link we have Engineer Chidolue from Nnewi, and we've gone further with certain questions, and it's not an interview, we're just having a conversation anyway. So, and he's talking us through about what he intends to do if he's voted in as representative of Nnewi North, Nnewi South, and Ekwusigo. Pardon me. I'm a typical Igbo, but I had a problem with that. Engineer Ike, are you still there with us? Because somehow we cannot see you or hear you. Are you still there with us, Engineer? Okay, while the studio is trying to sort it out, Spencer, like you heard what he has to say. If he has a bill that he's...
Basically, I would like to know what he has to do for his people. Because, I mean, you know, most of these representatives, before they come in, they'll have a whole lot to say, they have a lot to do, but once they get into position, the typical pattern is, I'm not saying that that's what he's going to do, because he's a young man and he's full of energy, and, you know, he seems to be screwed on, and he just recently returned from the United States.
Yeah, I was going to say that his advantage being a diaspora.
Yeah, he's a diasporan as well.
Yeah.
So, we need more people like him.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you know, so we need more people like him to really keep the fire burning and come out to be represented. You know, so I think if he can come with some new bills that would, I mean, sometimes what you need is not really magic, it's rock science. Some things that need to be done are just the basic stuff. I mean, I remember I was watching a Facebook video he made recently, and he was showing some rubbish dump along the road, and he was asking people.
Yeah, that's another topic we have to take. There's so much
rubbish all over the road, and he was asking people on his page, how do we sort this out? I mean, that's normal. That's the new thinking, because people in Nigeria, you see governors drive past it, they don't say anything. Commissioners. There was a time I went back to Nigeria a few years ago, and I saw the rubbish on the road. This was in Imo State, in Owerri. And I said to myself, if I was the governor driving past the rubbish,
you need to go to Aba to see more. Go to
instantly, I will pull over and I'll stop there. And I'll say, do you know what? Whoever is the commissioner of environment or whatever,
interrupt you a bit. Engineer is on the line, but somehow your video is dark and we cannot see you.
And I think he needs to turn the phone to landscape. Turn it to landscape. Yes.
Okay. You know what?
You're in a dark area now, and we can't hear him.
Okay. For the good never take light.
It might not be there. It might not be.
But you know, that's a Nigerian thing, I'm sure.
It's always dark.
Y'all, we apologize deeply because we have such a good conversation going on. Yeah. But internet problems in Nigeria is still there.
Yes. I think back to what we were saying, you know, while they're sorting that out, I mean, what he was saying is, and what I think we should be doing is, we need more people who can come out and become proactive.
Yes.
You see issues, you want to get them sorted.
Yes.
You know, like I said to you, if I was the governor of a state and I was driving past a pile of rubbish, why would I just drive past that?
What would you do?
I'd obviously instantly stop there and find out why this is there. It's like if I see rubbish in my kid's room, I ask them, why is this rubbish here?
Yeah,
so if I'm a governor of a state and I'm driving past the road and this is an eyesore, instantly I need to know why the Commission of Environment hasn't done anything about this. Why, what I could do to get rid of this permanently. And I'll start engaging people and start, you know, not just for years and years, like you said in Aba, for instance. Yes. Aba was known, and even on the chat for years, was known, people will be dumping rubbish. I just cited as an example. So what we're trying to say is, people like Engineer Chidolue, for instance, should be able to go in there and enact laws that should be able to make sure that these things don't keep repeating. So if you become a governor tomorrow, there are legislation in place that insists and make sure that when you become a governor, if you even
Hello, can
want
you hear
to
me?
that happening, it can't happen. There were lawyers who would take up the case and
can you hear me?
Fight for the people. Yeah, it seems we can hear you now, Engineer Ike. Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
you, but your video is still dark.
Can you hear us?
He's talking. We lost him again.
Oh, we lost him. Well, these are the issues.
Yeah, the Nigerian problems.
It's a network issue. Yeah.
But at least
but
we started a good show.
We can see you, but we can't hear you now. The sound's gone again. Yeah. Anyway, we can see. So I'm just going to continue and see if we can get out of the room. If not, we'll go on a break again, and then see if we can get it rectified before we come back. But just before we go, if we're going to go on a break, like people like Engineer Ike, for instance, I've watched a few of his videos. I mean, he has a passion for doing things in a different way.
Yes.
You know, and that's what we need. We need more people like young people with fresh ideas to come out and say, look, we can't keep on the old ways. Forget about the party you belong to. It doesn't matter what party. What are you saying?
Hello,
what
hello.
What are you bringing along? Yeah, Engineer, can you hear me now? We can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you. It's just that the video is a bit dark. Is there some lighting issues where you are?
Yeah, there is. I actually had to leave where I am because, you know, the power situation. So
oh, God.
I have to leave. Yeah, those are the part of the reason why we're saying that we want to go and represent our people. I mean,
yes.
We have a power out here.
You see, and I'm glad this just happened while you were there.
Power there.
Yeah.
Yes, sitting in my vehicle right now about it.
Okay,
no, but we can still, the show can still go on because at least we can hear you clearly.
Yes. And then, Engineer, the question I have for you,
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
The question I have for you is, why did you choose to run on the APC, under the APC, and not
the young parties?
Like maybe one of the young parties or even ADGA, that's in the south.
What bill though?
No. Okay, yeah. I was going to ask you about the bill, but I think I changed it. But before you come to the bill, quick question before we go to the question of the bill you're going to present, why did you choose to run under the APC?
Because I chose to run under APC because
we can hear you. Go ahead.
Just like we say, everything is all about interest. Number one, interest, and number two, a platform that will honor or give you the opportunity to express your political interest at whatever level. Another thing that we know, when we discuss why this party or why not that party, I track a distinction to every Nigerian that want to listen. The political ideologies between Party A and Party B and Party C, it's not really clear. In America, I don't know about UK, but in America, when you say Republican Party, you're talking about a conservative group. When you're talking about the Democrats, these are the liberal group. So in Nigeria, when I say PDP, you won't say they are conservative group or they're religious Christian
I think they're conservatives, though, really, in a way.
So when I say APC, you won't say, oh, they're liberal or conservative, or
they're progressives, isn't it?
The ideological differences are not there.
Yes.
So you join a party where you think that your biggest aspiration will have, it will be less difficult for you to push your aspiration on. And moreover, I joined it because I have a whole lot of friends that have been given that opportunity to express themselves politically on that platform. Okay. Last year, two of my friends ran, two young people, Tony Nwoye and Dozie Kedife was his running mate. They ran for the position of the Guba, in the election, and I was their spokesperson in the election. So naturally, I mean, we put in so much, worked so hard. Yes, we didn't get it, but it was a great expression that newcomers like us were allowed, or Tony is a young guy. Tony is in his mid-40s, and he's a medical doctor. He's currently in the House of Rep, and he was given that kind of opportunity to run for a Guba position. And Dozier, another young person, was his running mate. So why APC? I'm a realist. Why, in as much as, I'm not going to ridicule anybody in any way, like my big brother, Kingsley, Professor Moalo, that is in YPP. Of course, I appreciate the sentiments and the energy, dreamers bring to the table when they go to some of these smaller platforms.
Dreamers, you call them.
But I'm more like a realist. The job at hand, is like an urgency, an emergency. The nation needs emergency attention. We don't have time for a platform that is not yet mature, a platform that doesn't have representation around the country, a platform that is still trying out the things they believe in, that doesn't have people there. No man is an island. It's not even APGA. APGA is more, even though it's a national party, but it's more like a regional party and a sub-regional party, because APGA is nowhere else outside this outside Anambra State. APGA is only in Anambra State, and it's been on for more than 17 years. If after 17 years you're saying Nkabonkanyi and it's only in Anambra State, you can't call it an Igbo party. So APGA, for the most part, is just an Anambra party. I'm not a dreamer like that. I like their branding, though. Their branding is Nkabonkanyi. I like the way they've branded it, but we understand, we should know that the person that said that was their father and my father, Ikemba Nnewi, the late Odumegwu Ojukwu, Emeka Odumegwu Ojukwu, is the one when he was presenting one of the candidates in Owerri, introduced him and said that Nkabonkanyi. He was talking about the content, not the platform. So they took that word and made it the platform. It's like saying of the law and the spirit of the law. The letter of the law is how the people understood it, that interpreted it, understood it. The spirit is what the person that wrote it had in mind. So in Nkabonkanyi, that APGA brands is also like saying you have three sons. One is in Nnamdi Azikiwe University studying mechanical engineering. Your other son is in Enugu State University studying mechanical engineering. Your third son is in University of Nigeria and Nsukka studying mechanical engineering. And by Nkabonkanyi, the way APGA people play it, you will say that it is only the one in Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Oka, that is in Nkabonkanyi. That the other ones are not in Kanyi. You are not going to accept the degrees, the degree from UNN or the mechanical engineering degree from ASUT. Nkabonkanyi is like when people that sell drinks, when they finish their advert and they put a price in it, like say £1, liquid content only. Nkabonkanyi is talking about the content, not the bottle. So that's what it is. So I went with APC because it's a platform that has given me the opportunity to do what I'm trying to do right now. That's why I'm with APC. And it's a national party. It's the government at the center, and we need people in Anambra State, in the Southeast as a whole. The way we played it when PDP was in power, Southeast played a very strong role in PDP and was able to connect the Southeast to the center. In the same way, it's like doing business. Igbo people, when it comes to business, we are number one. when it comes to politics, we are the butt of the joke.
Because
when in business, the strategy of an Igbo businessman is...
The time is not on our side, engineer. Can I ask, let's take you back to the bills you're talking about. Like now, if and when voted in, what bills do you intend, bills do you intend to, you know, sponsor for your people?
I mean, the first thing, you know, the first thing is, you look at what is the strongest contribution of the Southeast, of Nnewi people, or let me say Southeast to Nigeria, is the human capacity.
Commerce.
We are everywhere. It's the human capacity. We have Igbo people doing business in all parts of the country and beyond. So because this is the biggest thing we sell is human capacity, I need a bill on education that will refine that human capacity for foundational education, so that the people that we are bringing out from the Southeast should be the best of the best, so that our Southeast will be looked forward to as the service center of the nation and even the sub-African region. So, and the way to do it is to fine-tune an education bill that at a minimum will adopt the UNESCO threshold on education, which is 26% of the budget. So that is the first thing topmost of my mind. We need to fine-tune our education, because when we fine-tune it, I believe my people in the Southeast are going to be, you know, gain mostly there. So that, you know, education is not just the formal, there are equally some other informal education that we need to do. The skill acquisition, which is the human capacity development, skill acquisition, we need to know that, train them in such a way that when a pipe fitter comes out of the Southeast, you train and retrain. So it's technology and innovation. You train and retrain the people. It's education, education, education. Before we start talking about the infrastructure need, the gap in the region or in my constituency, the first thing I need to do is education. Of course, human capacity, the women rights issues. You know, I have a legislative agenda that I've developed with my team. I'll share with you guys later. It's actually on my Facebook page, you know, on my Twitter handle. I have it there. I have a legislative agenda that this and these are things I need to do. But when I become a legislator for my constituency, one of the first things I'll do is that I will commission a study group to do a needs assessment for my constituency. Yes, I know what, from interaction, I know what the yearnings, the strongest yearning of my people are, but I want to make it empirical, make it, you know, like a scientific study. I'll do a needs assessment. I want a study group to look at it. And that's, you know, talking about needs assessment study group, that's what we need when we're going to the 9th Assembly. What I will push for our region is that the Southeast needs a strategy and a policy group. Intellectuals that are going to sit down and have an aerial view of the need of the Southeast, and how do we develop the bills that we are going to debate in the floor. We need a study group that will develop this thing, and in return we should give them 5 to 15% of our salary, because these are professionals, bankers, insurance people, you know, engineers. We need them on the side, looking at the roadmap, looking at what is needed to be done, looking at, okay, if you are bringing this bill, like those guys brought the Southeast bill, they will tell us, they are the guys that will tell us, okay, to make this thing pass, you need to talk to these guys. They need this thing in their own region. Capture it in your bill too. Mr. Northeast need this thing. Those are the people. So when you're bringing it in, you would have parleyed with the Northeast people that were coming with the bill. So we need a strategy and study group that will help be the overarching brain box for the 9th Assembly for the Southeast region.
If
we get our politics right,
I'm going to have to cut you short again.
Right. And we'll get the nation right as well.
I'm going to have to cut you short again, because like one top time, like I said, we've just been saying that we need to bring you back on a better day where you will have everything stay, you know, the internet should hopefully be working a lot better, because you seem to have a lot to say, you know, and the time slot we have is not enough. I don't think it is. But before we go ahead, I want to ask you one more question. The Southwest seem to have, because you know we're talking about the Southeast as a region and as a people, and how we're gonna the lighting's a lot better now. Like the Southwest, Southeast as a region, how are we gonna work as a region to better our lots in terms of politics in Nigeria. And we've seen the way the Southwest has played it. No, we've seen, sorry, I haven't finished. We've seen the way the Southwest have played it. They used one party, the ACN, over a time, and they used that to galvanize them with state by state until they had a bargaining power, and they used that to go to the center as a bargaining chip. So my question is, why can't we as Igbo use the platform that was bequeathed to us by, I'd say, Odumegwu Ojukwu, Chekwa Sokore, you know, that platform of ABGA? Why can't we use that as a region and say, look, this is something that means something to us. Let's all try and use it to win state by state, and then we can now become relevant when we go to the center.
Okay, I mean, to respond to that, you know, we run a constitutional democracy, and constitutional democracy frowns at regional parties. You know, even the Southwest you mentioned, the ACN, Southwest never really, you know, ACN was never really able to come to the mainstream. From the jump of this democracy in 1999, the first president was Obasanjo.
Yes.
And he's from the Southwest.
Yes.
And by his second tenure, he was able to successfully bring over 80% of the Southwest major stakeholders into PDP.
Okay.
And even right now, the Southwest are the major stakeholders in PDP, which is another mainstream party.
Yes.
So it's not like our constitutional democracy frowns at regional parties. Yeah. And you can't even call up ABGA. Even ABGA, yes, they say in Carbon Kind, but their national vice chairman is from the north. Their secretary, I think, is from the south. National secretary is from... So they want to position as a national party, but they've not played their game outside of Anambra. It is not... You have to sell yourself.
No, but sorry,
the idea is not to have a cult following in Anambra.
But the thinking... So can you hear me? The thinking really is that, look, if we as a region say to ourselves, look, we are gonna initially win over those 5 states. Because this could work, and that's what's happened in the Southwest. What I did was,
what's the problem? What do you see as a problem? Playing the same politics in APC or PDP?
No, because
what's the problem?
No. The problem is because you have to be strategic in a nation where there are different people, right? Now there are different people. So what we're saying is, if we're playing this strategically,
you're being idealistic about this, but the core practical, what is obtainable. If you're playing your ABGA game, you can, even right now, they can't even form a caucus in the National Assembly. You know, because it is still Igbo people. You want Igbo people in the parties. Yes. It is still the Igbo people in PDP and the Igbo people in APC that are going to speak for Igbo region in the party. So why will we have to restrict ourselves to a small party?
Okay, due to time, engineer, let's just round up quickly. But before we do that, I have one last question for you. How do you think the Igbos or the Southeast will hold our representatives or our governors? Will hold them responsible for bad governance?
I mean, we've said that over and over again. It boils down to quality representation. When you vote the wrong people in, you pay the price. That's the price we pay for voting the wrong people in.
But we still have the same system of voting for years. How do we do that? How do we correct that?
I mean, no, it's the electorate that have to interview the people that are coming out, you know, to lead them. We have the opportunity during this kind of interview that we're having on television, on radio, ask them the right questions. Look at their background. If you don't look at their background and look at what have they done, what is the pedigree? I mean, if somebody is coming from nowhere, he's going to take you nowhere. So we look at where are they coming from. So when you've already done those ask the right question, then you get the right people in there. But when you have the wrong person there, the only thing you can do is to wait for another election year and vote the person out.
Chidolue, the quick question I wanted to ask before, because we're running really out of time, is when you do get there, you know, most Nigerians across board are really, really upset with the humongous amount of money these representatives receive. Do you have any plans to fight against this? Because let me tell you, whether you like it or not, anyone who's championing that cause in the House, which I've never seen any really, I think Senator Ben Bruce said he mouthed off a few things, he never followed it through. Anyone that's championing that cause, I know it's difficult, even in the UK for instance, the MPs are the ones who are going to give themselves a reduction. No one really wants to do that. Are you going to look at the constituency money and then the security votes? You know, the security votes money. The governors don't account for it. These are legislative things that legal. You know, when you're representing me or representing your people, you should be able to go in and say, hold on, we have a lot of poor people in our constituency. Why should one person be taking money that 200 people could be earning in 1 month?
Yeah, okay.
So are you going to push any bills in this regard?
Yeah. Thank you, Spencer, for that question. The way I look at it, I think that every arm of government must lead by example. I'm a believer that every arm of government must lead by example. We can't be saying that things. And another thing to remember is that it is not the legislators that set their own wages. Nigeria has a commission that they call Salaries and Wages Commission. So what I'll push for is for greater transparency. They need to publish it is the wages and Salaries and Wages Commission. They should publish what they pay public servants if it's grade 2. This is what a grade 2 worker gets. If the president, this is what he gets. These are what is people ask the people. It is the electorate that will jump and make life difficult for the people taking all those, because we have to be at par with what our colleagues in the other parts of the world take.
Yeah, but the thing is, Injinika, what the thing is, we know it's been leaked recently. It's been leaked that they earn, is it 13 billion or what? The figures are mind-boggling, right? But nothing's happened. You're going to join the 9th Assembly and you're going to go and earn those kind of money. So the thing is, we need an army of people who are going to say, look, I'm going in there for service. I'm going to go in there and say, look, we want to earn a good wage, but we don't want to be taking a whole state's money away.
You know what? It doesn't actually happen in the National Assembly. We are backing at the wrong tree. It happens, the salaries are set by the Salaries and Wages Commission. That is where Nigerians should be putting pressure on. The people that give them that salary, or based on what indices? How did they determine it? So we should go back to the drawing table and get their DG or the director of the Wages and Salary Commission. They have to go and reverse those things. They have to go and another thing, what I'll be pushing for as a legislator, if my people elect me, is the transparency. Put it all out there. Let the people. My salary that I earned in RGP is out there. I posted it. In course of this thing. This is how much I was making per annum. It was over 40 million naira a year.
We have to cut.
And put it out. They need to know. This is
we
the
have to go now.
So transparency is better and stronger. I value transparency even better than accountability, because you can actually say, account how you spent $1 billion. But when you are transparent with it, people can see what the line items, this is it. So we need to be transparent with how much we earn and where it goes in. And our people will know whether do we need to send this guy back again. So yes, I will agitate for it. Yes, I will agitate for transparency.
We have Engineer Chidolue. It's been wonderful having you today, but we must have you in this studio.
We want you to come to London.
We want you to come to London. We must have you, because there's so much to talk about. There's so much to talk about. Not before election, you never know. We must have you in the studio because there's so much for us to talk about. And
my trip, you're in UK. I'm in Nigeria.
Sorry, we're out of town.
You guys are dealing with pounds. That's a whole lot of.
Yeah, we appreciate you. We appreciate you. Thank you very much.
So we wish you all the best, Nnewi. Hopefully, you'll finally get the ticket for the APC, and then we'll have you probably back on this program once again once you've gotten the ticket.
And thank you very
so
much.
I really appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah.
And from me, Mystic Marlene.
I'm from Spencer.
Good night.
I'm gonna say good night. Thanks for hanging in there with us.